On a Thursday evening in November, a man named Nathan picked up his phone and recorded a 47-second voice note. He was laughing in it. He was describing his affair in detail. He was talking about how oblivious his wife was. He was making a joke about it. He sent it to what he believed was a private chat with two of his closest friends. He had sent it to the neighborhood community group, 87 members, including his wife, including his business partners, including the investors behind his restaurant's planned expansion, including the woman he was having the affair with, including his wife's brother, who was also his head chef. Within 90 minutes, 34 people had listened to it. He could not unsend it. The window had passed. In the 48 hours that followed, Nathan lost his affair, his two lead investors, his head chef, his marriage, and eventually the restaurant he had spent 7 years building. His wife, Sara, did not plan any of it. She did not hire anyone. She did not build a case. She did not scheme or strategize or spend sleepless nights preparing. She simply picked up her phone, saw the notification, pressed play, and listened to 47 seconds that told her everything she had needed to know for the past 14 months. Then, she changed the locks. Stay with me, because the details of how a single voice note dismantled one man's entire life in less than 2 days are more specific, more human, and more quietly devastating than anything you are expecting.
Before we get into it, if you are new here, this is Venture and Karma. Every week, real stories of betrayal and consequence told the way they actually happened. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss what's coming next. Hit the like button if you're ready. Let's get into it.
Sara had been with Nathan for 9 years, married for 6. She had met him when they were both 29 at a food industry event where Nathan was presenting a concept for the restaurant he wanted to open. He was magnetic in the way that certain people are magnetic when they are talking about something they genuinely love. He talked about food the way Sara's father talked about architecture, with the specific vocabulary of someone who had thought about it at 3 in the morning for years. She had stayed after the presentation to ask him a question. He had asked her to dinner 2 days later. They were engaged within 18 months. They opened the restaurant together in year 3 of their relationship. Sara's family had money, not generational wealth, but substantial savings her father had built through 40 years of disciplined work. When Nathan needed a co-investor for the restaurant, Sara had brought her family into it. Her father contributed a significant portion of the startup capital. Her brother Marcus, who had trained as a chef in Lyon, came home early to run the kitchen. The restaurant was not Sara's project in name. Nathan was the owner, the face, the operator. But it was built with her family's money and sustained in its first 2 difficult years by her brother's talent in the kitchen. Nathan was good at what he did. The restaurant found its audience. By year 4, it had a reputation that extended beyond the neighborhood. By year 6, it had been reviewed in the kind of publication that changes a restaurant's trajectory. Nathan became a minor local figure, recognized in the street, invited to panels, asked for opinions on the industry. This was when Sara first noticed the shift. Not a dramatic shift, a subtle one. the kind that you notice in a long relationship, the way you notice a draft in a room, not by seeing it, but by feeling slightly colder, without being able to say exactly when that started. Nathan became less present at home, not absent, present but elsewhere. His energy was in a different room even when he was sitting across the table. He started taking his phone everywhere with the specific attentiveness of someone who needs to know where it is at all times. He started working later. He had always worked late. Restaurants operate at hours that are unfriendly to marriages, but the pattern changed. The nights became more specific. Tuesdays and Thursdays, regular, predictable. Predictable in a way that genuine restaurant emergencies rarely are. Sara raised it once, then twice. Nathan's response was always the same. He was patient. He was calm. He said she was reading into things because she had always been someone who worried. He said the business was at a critical phase. He said she needed her support, not her suspicion. He said he was going to need her to trust him. She tried. The trying looked like saying less. It looked like not checking the time when he came home. It looked like telling herself on the Tuesdays and the Thursdays that she was imagining a pattern because she was the kind of person who worried. She had been doing this for 14 months when the voice note arrived.
Priya had been the restaurant's general manager for 3 years. She was 28 years old, organized, direct, and exceptionally good at the particular skill of managing a room full of people who are working under intense pressure and who all believe their problem is the most urgent one. Nathan had hired her from a larger restaurant group, where she had been overlooked for promotion twice in 18 months. He had offered her more responsibility than she had been given before. She had taken it and done exactly what she said she would do. The relationship between Nathan and Priya had begun 8 months into her employment. Nathan had told her that his marriage was effectively over. He had told her that he and Sara were living as roommates. He had told her that he was waiting for the right moment because the divorce would be complicated given the restaurant's finances, and he needed to handle it carefully. Priya was not naive. She had asked him more than once whether this was real. He had been consistent, specific, convincing. He had told her she was the only person he could talk to honestly. He had told her that Sara had never understood what he was building. He had told her that the restaurant was really his and hers, built by people who understood food the way they both did. He was lying on all counts. Priya did not know this. She would find out on a Thursday evening in November, along with 86 other people. Nathan had 3 significant group chats on his phone. The first was his industry contacts, chefs, suppliers, reviewers, investors, 41 members. The second was his neighborhood community group, the one he had joined 3 years ago when there was a planning dispute about a development nearby. 87 members. He had not opened it in 6 weeks. It was buried beneath 11 other notifications. The third was a small private chat with 2 friends from university, 3 members including himself. On the Thursday in November, Nathan had been drinking with a supplier after the restaurant closed. He was in a good mood. The expansion plans were progressing. He had had a long conversation with Priya that evening that had left him feeling invincible
in the specific way that certain kinds of people feel when everything appears to be going their way. He opened his phone in the back of a taxi. He wanted to tell his 2 university friends something funny. He opened what he thought was their chat. He recorded 47 seconds. In those 47 seconds, he described the affair. He described Priya in terms that were specific and identifying. He made a joke about Sara. He used the word oblivious. He laughed at his own joke. He pressed send. He looked out the taxi window for approximately 4 minutes. Then he picked up his phone to check if they had responded. He saw the chat name. He saw 87 members. He saw that the message had been delivered to all of them. He saw that it had already been read by 14 people. He stared at the screen. The read count went to 21, then 21. He tried to delete it. He pressed and held on the message. The delete option appeared. He pressed it. The message disappeared from his view. What he did not know, because he had not read the platform's update notes from 6 months earlier, was that the delete function no longer removed the message from the devices of anyone who had already received it. It removed it from his view only. 21 people still had it on their screens, including Sara. Sara had seen the notification, had opened the chat, and had pressed play before Nathan deleted it on his end. She listened to 47 seconds. She did not move for a long time after it ended. Then she opened her screenshots folder. She took a screenshot of the chat notification, the timestamp, and Nathan's name above the now deleted message. Her phone had automatically saved the audio file on receipt. She had everything. She had not been looking for anything. She had simply opened a group chat at the right moment. Or the wrong one, depending on who you are in this story. I want to stop here for a moment, because Sara has just received, in the space of 47 seconds, the confirmation of 14 months of doubt. She has been told she was imagining things. She has been told she was someone who worried. She has been told to trust him. And in 47 seconds, in a voice note he recorded laughing, intended for someone else, she has heard her husband describe the exact thing she suspected, using the exact word that will stay with her longest. Oblivious. He thought she was oblivious. She was not oblivious. She had been paying attention for 14 months. She had simply been persuaded to stop trusting what she saw. What happens in the next part of this story is not revenge. Sara does not plan anything. She does not call an attorney that night. She does not build a strategy. She does 3 things. She calls her brother. She calls a locksmith. She makes herself a cup of tea. And then she watches, from the distance of someone who has removed herself from the blast radius, as her husband's life disassembles itself without any help from her at all.
At 11:14 p.m., Sara called Marcus. She played him the audio file over the phone. She did not say anything before she played it. She let him listen. When it finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Are you at the house?" She said yes. He said he was coming. While Sara waited for Marcus, two things happened simultaneously that Sara was not aware of. Priya, who was also in the neighborhood group chat, had received the voice note at the same moment as everyone else. She had listened to it. She had listened to Nathan describe her to his friends. She had listened to the tone of his voice, the casual amusement in it, the ease. She had listened to him call Sara oblivious in the same voice he used with Priya when he told her Sara had never understood him. Priya sent Nathan a text message at 11:19 p.m. It said, "I heard it. Don't contact me again. I'll collect my things from the restaurant when you're not there. I'm giving 2 weeks' notice via email tonight." Nathan called her immediately. She declined the call. He called again. She declined again. He sent 12 messages over the following 40 minutes. She did not reply to any of them. The second thing that happened was that two members of the neighborhood group, both of whom knew Nathan personally and had money in the restaurant's expansion, had also heard the voice note. One of them sent a message to the group chat at 11:31 p.m. It was addressed to the group, but directed at Nathan. It said, "Nathan, I think this was meant for somewhere else, but since we've all heard it, I'll say what I expect others are also thinking. We'll be in touch in the morning." Nathan read that message in the back of the taxi. He was still 7 minutes from home. He called both investors from the taxi. Neither answered. Marcus arrived at the house at 11:47 p.m. He and Sara sat in the kitchen. He did not say much. He made her tea. He sat across from her. At midnight, Sara called a 24-hour locksmith service. She booked the earliest available slot, 6:30 a.m. She told Marcus he could stay in the guest room. She went to bed. She slept 4 hours. She was awake before the locksmith arrived. Nathan reached the house at 12:20 a.m. His key worked. He opened the door. Sara was in bed. The lights were off. He stood in the hallway. He wanted to wake her. He wanted to explain. He wanted to say something that would make the next 36 hours not be what he knew they were going to be. He stood there for 4 minutes. Then he went to the guest room. He did not know Marcus was there. He opened the door. Marcus was sitting on the bed in the dark, fully dressed, looking at him. He closed the door. He spent the night on the kitchen sofa.
At 6:30 a.m., the locksmith arrived. Sara opened the door. The locksmith changed every lock in the house. The process took 40 minutes. Nathan woke to the sound of it. He appeared in the kitchen doorway. He started to speak. Sara said, "Your attorney can contact mine. I need you to leave now." He said her name. She said, "Please." He left. He went to the restaurant. He sat in his office. He spent the morning calling the investors. One took his call at 9 a.m. The conversation lasted 6 minutes. The investor said he had heard the voice note. He said he had also heard that Nathan's general manager had quit that morning. He said losing a general manager during an expansion phase represented a risk he hadn't signed up for. He said he was stepping back from the expansion commitment and would send formal confirmation by end of day. The second investor did not take Nathan's calls.
He communicated through an email that arrived at 10:15 a.m. The email was 4 sentences. The last sentence said that the investor wished Nathan well and asked to be removed from any further correspondence about the project. At 11 a.m., Marcus arrived at the restaurant, not for his shift, to collect his personal items from the kitchen: his knives, his notebooks, his grandmother's recipe cards he had pinned to the notice board in the prep area. He boxed them efficiently. He said nothing to Nathan. He sent his formal resignation via email from the restaurant parking lot. By Tuesday evening, Nathan was sitting in his office with no investors, no general manager, no head chef, and a voice note he could not delete from 87 people's phones. He had a restaurant that opened in 4 hours, and a team that was watching him with the specific wariness of people who had worked for someone for years and are now rapidly recalculating everything. Sara spent the first week doing almost nothing dramatic. She called a family law attorney on the Friday morning, the day after the voice note, not urgently, methodically. She made an appointment for the following week. She gathered the financial documentation she needed. She was organized about it. She also called her father. She told him what had happened. He was quiet on the phone in the way that certain fathers are quiet when they are deciding what kind of anger to have and in which order. He asked her what she needed. She told him she needed him to know, and she needed some time. He said he understood. He said she should come for dinner on Sunday. She said she would. What Sara did not do was post about it. She did not send messages to mutual friends. She did not engage with the people from the neighborhood group who were sending her private messages of support and, in some cases, less helpful messages involving opinions and suggestions. She muted the group. She thanked the people who reached out with a brief reply. She said she was fine and that she appreciated them. She went to work every day that week. She is an architect. She had a project deadline. She met it. The attorney consultation happened the following Wednesday. The attorney looked at the restaurant's ownership structure. She looked at the original investment documentation. She noted that Sara's family's investment had been made in exchange for a minority equity stake that had never been bought out. She noted that the planned expansion, which had now lost both its investors, had been structured using projected revenue that included income streams partly attributable to the period when Marcus was head chef, a period that was now ending. The attorney told Sara she had more standing in the restaurant's future than Nathan had probably accounted for. The divorce proceedings were not swift. They were not designed to be swift. Sara's goal was not speed. Her goal was accuracy. She wanted an outcome that reflected what had actually been built and by whom. The final settlement, reached 9 months after the voice note, reflected the following. Sara's family's original investment was fully returned. Her equity stake was bought out at a valuation that accounted for the restaurant's performance during the years when Marcus's kitchen drove its reputation. The marital home went to Sara. Nathan retained the restaurant. What he retained was a restaurant without its head chef, without its general manager, without its expansion investors, and with a noise around it that had made the neighborhood aware of the kind of person running it. He kept it open.
He worked very hard to keep it open. It is still open. It is smaller than it was. It is not what it was going to be. Marcus opened his own restaurant 14 months later. A small place, 12 tables, no reservations, word of mouth only. There is a line outside it most evenings. Sara designed the interior.
There is a detail in the original Reddit post where Sara describes the afternoon she and Marcus sat in the new restaurant the day before it opened. Just the two of them, 12 tables with no one sitting at them yet, the kitchen quiet, the light coming through the windows her firm had designed. She says Marcus poured 2 glasses of wine. He said he wanted to mark the opening properly. She asked what he wanted to say. He thought about it. Then he said, "I just want to say that you were right. The whole time. You were right, and they told you that you were imagining it, and you were right." Sara says in the post that she did not know how much she had needed to hear that until he said it. Not the settlement, not the house, not any of the practical things that took 9 months of attorneys and documentation and careful, difficult work to arrive at. She needed someone who had been there from the beginning to say out loud that she had not been imagining it. She says the wine tasted excellent. She says the 12 tables looked like exactly the right number. She says she is doing fine because people ask her that and she wants them to know the answer. She says the best decision Nathan ever made was accidentally pressing send on the wrong chat. She says she means that completely. She says she had been living with a version of herself who didn't trust what she saw. That version of herself is gone now. She says she doesn't miss her.
That is the story of the voice note. 47 seconds. 87 people. 48 hours. No lawyers hired in secret. No documents placed on a table. No silent preparation across months of strategic patience. Just a man who pressed send on the wrong chat because he was drunk and confident and had reached the point that arrogance always reaches. The point where you stop checking because you've stopped believing anything can go wrong. And a woman who had been told for 14 months that she was imagining things, who pressed play on a 47-second audio file, who took a screenshot, who called her brother, who called a locksmith, who went to bed, and who woke up the next morning to discover that she had not needed to do anything else. The thing that strikes me most about this story, the thing I keep coming back to, is not the voice note itself. It is the word he used, oblivious. He thought she was oblivious. She was the least oblivious person in that marriage. She had been paying attention to every detail for 14 months. She had simply been told, repeatedly and convincingly, that what she was noticing wasn't real. There is a specific kind of cruelty in convincing someone that their own perception cannot be trusted. And there is a specific kind of justice in having that same person be the one who presses play on the thing that tells them they were right all along. If this story stayed with you, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it genuinely helps. Subscribe to Venture and Karma. Every week we bring you stories like this one, real, documented, human. And next week's story is already in production. You do not want to miss it. Tell me in the comments which part of this you are still thinking about.
Is it Nathan in the taxi watching the read count go up? Is it Marcus sitting on the bed in the dark when Nathan opened the door? Or is it Sara in the new restaurant, wine in hand, 12 tables, hearing her brother say, "You were right the whole time"? I read every comment. Keep your eyes open, and I will see you in the next one.